Hey dads and grads and other people. BoboTheVulture here. And so are all these guys. You know them, you love them. They're the Dream Daddies. Wow. This is loud in my ear. I wonder if it's loud in your ears. I just got the hint to whistle while you work. I'm turning this down in my own ear. It may be turning down in yours. If it is, you'll have to deal. And if it is, I think it's to a more appropriate level. Bird in the hand is better than a bird in the eye. Have you ever had a bird in the eye? You can leave a comment below. Let's continue. And, yeah. I started a date and had to end it. I had to cut the video abruptly. So I guess let's go back to this dad book, because I didn't actually finish this. So we'll go here. This should have us as having clicked off one Joseph date, right? I got dads. Don't y'all got dads? Y'all got dads. But anyways, I suppose it would be almost be cheating to be able to have had a sneak preview, even though I had only literally got like, I'm not even sure I actually had managed to come in and meet Damien on our Damien date. Because if I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't necessarily know that this is my kind of guy. I mean, he likes black cats. I like black cats. I like cats of all different colors. And I pronounce bosom like bosom. Like bosom buds. Sometimes, for comedic purposes, I'll pronounce it bozooms. Yeah. Well, could he never leave home without an upside-down cross? Is that right? He spends a lot of time thinking about mortality salience, so there you go. But just in case, we should at least send him a message so that we can meet him, get to know him a little bit better, and then maybe we'll have a better standard by which to say, I'm interested in this. Haven't ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Sure haven't. Just make sure you have health insurance. Oh my god, so damn important, everybody. Seriously? Pray for uninterrupted employment. Gah. Don't forget to floss every day. I guess. Damien seemed really interesting in this. A little odd, but interesting in this. I think I should hang out with him to get to know him a little better. Navigate to Damien's dad book page and type out a message. Hey dude, you seem cool. We should hang out sometime. Sit there for a minute before I see that Damien's typing. But then he keeps typing. And typing. Man, is this guy writing a novel? I'll leave the computer to make some coffee. And he's still typing. I sip my coffee and the computer finally dings. Is it just me, or does do all the dads in this game seem to have more of a presence constantly on Dad Book than you would think that anybody would on either a social networking site or a dating site, depending on what we are perceiving this as? I, generally speaking, am not constantly or perpetually available to be responding whenever someone sends me a message on social media. He may just be getting lucky, I guess. Bobo, I must confess my excitement to be receiving your kind letter, for, as you see, I do find myself available to enjoy your company. I must ask for your forgiveness, however, as I believe our first meeting did not paint me in as gentlemanly a manner as I would have liked. Oh, well, there's more. I would be highly flattered to enjoy your companionship at my residence for an afternoon tea and a stroll around my garden, should it please you. Until then, adieu. Yours, humbled, the Blood March. I stare at the screen and reread the letter several more times. Now, see, this is more my pace. Afternoon tea and a stroll around a garden. Guys, that's actually a really good first date. If we are, of course, working in the conceit that this is a dating game. So far, the words date have never been used anywhere that I have noticed. But daytime, it's a little bit less pressure for all parties involved, which can work to, lessen some of the initial tensions of those situations. Now, I've had plenty of blind dates or first dates in the evening that worked out just fine, but lunch lowers the stakes, or afternoon time lowers the stakes. Also means that if the date's going really well and everyone's very into the idea of continuing to spend the day together, you can have a really long period of time. The date could turn into dinner. And tea is lovely. Nice hot beverage. Sit down, or in this case, stroll a garden, have something nice to look at. But it is not an activity that both of you are observing or are not actively engaged in, or sort of precludes conversation. It almost requires conversation if you're going to be sitting with someone and drinking tea. I stare at the screen and reread the letter several more times. Hey, Amanda, can you help me with something? Dad, for the last time, I'm not popping your back pimples. I'm not roid raging out. I do not have big time back knees. No. Can you interpret this for me? Turn the computer to Amanda, and she squints at Damien's message. I just don't understand NetSpeak. Like, is this how you kids communicate with each other now? Oh, tell it. This is the hot new thing. See, Dad, kids got over saying lol and lamau or whatever and decided that what they needed to do was bring it back to the 1800s. So what do I do? Where's your pen and quill? What? Did you forget to unpack the pen and quill? Dad, how will I address the nobleman in regards to your upcoming debutante ball? Okay, now I know you're messing with me, because that doesn't entirely cotton with what we're talking about. Father, without a proper chaperone, you'll never end up with a suitor worthy of our land. Or our dowry. Or... So you read Pride and Prejudice for school one time, and now you're reciting things you know about it back to me, aren't you? Like the first 5 pages, and then I read a review of the movie. Still got a B, though. Great. So, what do I say to Damon? I got this. Amanda reaches over me and types in the keyboard. Sure thing, dude. Regards. Bobo. Amanda hits send and smiles at me. Well, I suppose that's that. I make the short walk over to Damien's house. I guess you can't really call it a house. It's more of a manor, a state. The Gothic architecture looms above the other homes in the cul-de-sac. I walk over to Damien's palace. I walk past a couple of gargoyles guarding the front door and look around for a doorbell. There doesn't seem to be one. Pull the large, ornately carved bat's head door knocker back, and a hollow sound echoes throughout the house as I strike it against the door. I wait several moments before the door slowly creaks open. It's a little creepy, but I enter the home and take a few steps into the foyer, noting the oil portraits of who I assume are dead relatives hanging on the wall. As I'm admiring them, the front door slams shut behind me. It makes my perception shake around, but not actually create a noise. Hello? Oh, he's got lovely tea cakes and sandwiches, and oh, wow, this is going to be a lovely engagement. With ominous tones. Silence. An oil lamp in the corner flickers dimly, casting ominous shadows against the wall. Why do I feel like all the people in these paintings are staring straight at me? Why is it so cold in here? Where's Damien? You know, that would be quite the trick, to arrange paintings in your house in such a way that the subjects of all of the paintings appear to be staring at the doorway, so the moment that you walk in, all of the paintings in the room appear to be staring at you. Bobo, pleasure to have you in my home. I look up and see Damien standing at the top of a majestic staircase with a walking candle holder. Wow, his candle holder walks? I wonder if it has a French accent. What's with the door slamming shut? Oh, sorry, there was a draft. And the door creaking open when I knocked? Well, it creaked open, but it also creeped open. Oh. I accidentally left the door unlocked. And the creepy oil paintings? I like oil paintings. Right. Right. Please, let me show you around. Okay. Damien leads me around his house, showcasing his parlor, sitting room, auxiliary sitting room, and the parlor again for some reason. Oh. This is one of the older homes on the block, yes, but nowhere near as old as the architecture might suggest. Through extensive renovations, I have been able to craft a residence that is both historically accurate to the Victorian period and equipped with the amenities of any modern dwelling. We walk past a door covered in bumper stickers, caution tape, and a black parade poster. Did they listen to My Chemical Romance in the Victorian era? That's my son's room. You know how the rebellious teenage years are. Onward, onward, there's more to see. We reach a door at the end of the hall that Damien opens with a flourish. And this is the library. Sunlight streams in from floor to ceiling arched windows. The walls are lined with packed bookshelves, and even more books are scattered over the period-appropriate furniture. Damien is clearly really proud of this room. I mean, you ought to be. You got a library in your house, and everything is stacked as high as it appears to be in the background of this image. Look out the window, look at the butterflies, pick up a book. That's enough of the tour. Let's take a look at the butterflies. I mean, it is the object of somewhat different interest within a library. Walk up to the glass display of pinned bugs on the wall. It's pretty impressive. Nice bugs. I pinned them all myself. Maybe I could show you how sometime. I'm concerned I would stick the pin right through my finger. Ha, the pinner's gambit. Is that a thing? No. Let's take a look at some of the books in the place here. You know, Bobo, in the Victorian era, there was some controversy surrounding reading. Many people thought it was the more tawdry novels would encourage youths into a life of crime, and would cause too much of a distraction from work and school. Pull out a book at random and examine the worn cover. Opening it, I turn to a random page and read aloud. Naruto struggled against the chains that Sasuke bonded him with. Shirtless and out of breath, he looked up at Sasuke. Sasuke smirked, unbuttoning his ninja pants. Could be Sasuke. I don't actually know. My apologies, I suppose. Oh my. Okay, I think that's enough. Damien snaps the book shut and puts it back onto the shelf. That's a rare book from my private collection. Let's make sure that we explore all of the options in these dates when we can. So let's also look out the window. All of these things seem to please Damien. I walk to the window and I'm greeted by a beautiful view of Damien's backyard. It showcases a beautiful view of the rest of the cul-de-sac. Hey, I can see Craig in his lawn. He's doing push-ups. With his daughter's on his back. Damn. He sees me and waves happily, doing push-ups with one hand now. Damn. Did you know that Victorians spent at least 20 hours a week gazing longingly out of full-length windows? Wait, really? No. But Victorians did appreciate telling a good joke. Good joke. Please, will you join me for tea? Oh, yes, tea. I should have made a cup before this. It'd have to be decaf, though. It's a little on the late side. I follow Damien to his sitting room, where finger foods have already been set out upon a beautiful tiered silver tray. I take a seat on one of the high-backed chairs as Damien pours and serves me some tea. I can't believe we're having high tea. I never thought I'd get to do this. Damien smiles to himself. What?
Oh.
It's a common misconception that high tea refers to the vulture class of the people enjoying it, when in fact the high refers to both the later time of the day that the working class had to enjoy tea, and the height of the tables on which they're served. Oh. My dear friend, we're currently enjoying afternoon tea.
That's informative. Damien takes a seat next to me and serves me a tiny sandwich. Oh, man. I really want to be having afternoon tea with Damien right now. It seems delightful. Your home is very impressive. Are there a lot of goths in Maple Bay? I like your cape. My goodness. I'm pretty sure that his I don't believe that he would appreciate our misconstruing, or I believe that calling Damien goth would be misconstruing his interest in the Victorian era. But it's entirely possible I'm incorrect. But let's avoid saying that. He just took us on a tour of his home. Seems only appropriate that we would mention that we find his home really impressive. Your home is really impressive. Seems like you've really put a lot of work into this place.
Thank you. No one's ever complimented my home before.
Well, I could barely get matching salt and pepper shakers in my place, and look at what you've done. I'm kind of jealous.
That's very generous of you to say.
What got you so interested in goth stuff? Oh, Bobo. I mean, Bobo Avatar, what are you...
Well, when I was a young boy, my father...
Did he take you into the city?
Sorry?
Did you guys see a marching band?
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You're serious?
Of course.
I mean... Is it a My Chemical Romance thing? But it's, you know, the song. Amanda made me listen to it. Seriously?
I'd love to see a marching band.
Marching bands are fun, guys.
And nevertheless, I've always had a love for art, history, and fashion. What started off as a small hobby of collecting taxidermied animals grew into sort of an obsession. It's a privilege to be able to appreciate the lives and culture of those who came before us, I think.
Why not go all the way?
I like not dying when I catch a cold.
Takes a sip of tea.
I can acknowledge that there were many very terrible things about the Victorian era, and try to live a life that strictly aligns with those ideals would be admittedly horrid. But I think it takes a critical mind to truly appreciate something to the fullest, to be cognizant of its flaws and love it all the same. Tell me, Bobo, do you have any hobbies?
Oh man, I do, but I don't know if I care about anything the way that you care about this stuff.
Well, I'd love to hear about your interests. Hearing someone talk about the things they're passionate about is intriguing and quite honestly, rather attractive. Please, do tell me about your hobbies.
Quick, sound sophisticated. Um, Love watching soap making videos on the internet? I don't. Love me some word jumbles? Sometimes. I learned how to juggle once. Accurate. Not especially skilled at it now. Did have to do it to get a good grade in drama class in high school. Juggling was one of the requisites. I mean, I believe it was weighted in such a way that if you lacked the dexterity to do it, you would not be failed out of drama class. But it certainly was something you were required to try, at least, to do. So, also I suppose, out of all of these, I don't know which one of these would be actually the most true to me. It's difficult to make a character whose interests and ideals align with your own when you're only ever given 3 dialogue choices and none of them strictly align to your thoughts, beliefs, or personal history. This one comes close. Gravity is an interesting thing, and I believe that juggling is the pinnacle of humankind's interactive with the gravitational arts.
Interesting.
I started off with scars, but now I can comfortably juggle balls. Juggling pins is currently out of my purview. Damien looks at me quizzically, but shrugs it off. We finish our tea and finger sandwiches.
Come, I have one more thing to show you.
Wow. Wow. You guys. Damien takes me around the back of his home, where a variety of flowers flourish in beautifully landscaped rows. A small stone path weaves through it. Butterflies flit lazily through the air.
Oh my garden.
Hey guys, he's out in the daytime. Check it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Victorians took flowers and floral arrangements very seriously. You see, it was considered uncouth to discuss personal and romantic relationships in public, so lovers and friends alike would use bouquets to send secret messages to each other. Each flower and plant is symbolic of different feelings. Even more interesting is that one flower could mean different things depending on the other plants it was paired with. One had to be extremely careful, as even the style in which the ribbon was tied around the bouquet affected the message.
Damien leans down and plucks a gorgeous, bright orange flower off of a vine.
Lilium bulbiferum, the orange lily. What do you think this one means?
Thy loins are ablaze, my loins are ablaze, thou art the tightest. 3 cheers for sweet revenge. I don't think it means 3 cheers for sweet revenge. Thou art the tightest? Does he mean tiggity tight? In that sense? Because the orange lily to me sounds as though it would be a very friendly sort of a flower to receive. I suppose I could see it being considered passionate, but very hard to know. Thou art the tightest.
The orange lily is actually symbolic of pure hatred.
Well,
And that's precisely why floral arrangement is so challenging. What's your favorite type of flower?
snapdragons, honeysuckle, sunflowers.
goodness. Don't really have a favorite flower. I'm too uninformed on the subject, generally speaking. I tend to like tulips, broadly speaking, because they seem a versatile flower. They come in a wide arrangement of colors. I mean, as a child, I always liked little blowable dandelion heads, but that's not really an option here, so I have to admit sunflowers are really nice. So let's say sunflowers. They remind me of sunshine, and then you can eat the seeds as a delicious snack. What a practical choice. My stomach grumbles. Oh man, now I want sunflower seeds. I'll have to remember that when I put together a bouquet for you. He would put together a bouquet for me? Nobody's ever given me a bouquet before. Accurate, come to think of it. Given a few, but again, I don't necessarily have a strong idea or preference for flowers, so I will tell you, maybe the equivalent of receiving a bouquet of flowers to me was the time that Bean was ordering items off of Amazon and just happened to notice that, oh, hey, here was a copy of Castlevania 64 that just appeared to be in the Amazon warehouse at a reasonable price. Let me go ahead and add that to the order and have that come home. The time that she was out at Goodwill, found Marble Madness for the NES. She'll periodically just bring home little random games, which is as nice as a bouquet of flowers to me, I would say. Particularly since she knows our collection and will, generally speaking, not pick up things that would be duplicates. She brought home Pac-Man for the 2600 one time, and that, despite not being a good game, I was really delighted by. And honestly, I think it's a better game than people give it credit for. Which is not to say that it was good. Which is not even to say it was as good as the Atari 2600 could have handled. But it gets a lot of flack. And sometimes I have a particular soft spot for games that are given a lot of negative reception and don't necessarily deserve all of it. That's why I have a copy of Shaq Fu. But you see, all of these little interesting tiny detail choices about what things you pick up. It's just like flowers. Precisely like flowers. But it's true. Nobody has ever given me a literal bouquet before. I've gotten a boutonniere one time, and I was allergic to the flowers in it. So, yeah. Follow Damien down the footpath and admire more of his beautiful flowers. Suddenly, a phone rings. Trying to remember what that tune is from. It's like an old mystery show, wasn't it? Eh. Oh, Bobo, will you excuse me? I must take this. He pulls his cell phone out of his pocket. I'm a little surprised it's not a rotary phone. Go for it. Damien smiles and walks back into the house. I take a deep breath and enjoy the heavily perfumed air. What a lovely yard. This makes me wish I had put a little more effort into that garden Amanda and I tried to start one time. Wild melons grew to the size of cherry tomatoes and then immediately died. Oh hey, a gargoyle. Hope it's not a red gargoyle. Those no stone. Oh no, I knocked over the gargoyle. What are you doing, Bobo?
okay. Yeah, it doesn't go there. It's this piece. Yeah, man. I did it. Legendary. I don't think that's going to actually work, though. Managing debt is just a part of being an adult. You know, yeah. I mean, I was going to start getting all over about how great I was at managing debt, but a lot of that came from good circumstances of my childhood, and I will still have to take on a loan if I ever want to get another car, so, Phew, that was a close one. Uh-oh, here comes Damien. He looks upset.
Bobo, my sincerest apologies to have kept you waiting. There is an urgent matter that I must attend to, so I'm afraid I must take my leave.
No problem, dude. Everything alright? Damien worries the hem of his coat with his fingers and looks away.
Everything is perfectly fine, but it's Lucien.
Oh, what's wrong?
He appears to have, well, his teacher needs me to come to the school post-haste.
Do you need help?
Oh no, you don't have to.
Let me come with you. Us dads gotta stick together.
You're right. This is one of Lucian's more elaborate stunts. I would greatly treasure having another parent by my side. Ikuzo!
Let's go. Damien and I walk into the school and are immediately greeted by an anxious-looking Hugo.
I don't know.
Hey, Damien, you're here in record time. I wouldn't miss it for the world, dear friend.
Wow, whatever it is, doesn't seem like this is Hugo and Damien's first time to the my kids are in trouble rodeo.
What is it this time?
Hmm?
This, Damien, you have to see to believe.
Damien and I fall into step behind Hugo, who leads us through the busy corridors of the school. We pass by several classes in session, and I vaguely wonder if Amanda's around. Hugo eventually ushers us into a small boiler room with a flight of rickety stairs leading down into darkness.
Watch your step.
I can hear faint voices drifting up from the basement. They don't sound happy. As I'm led into the depths of the school, I recall the antics I got into as an angsty middle schooler. I got into no such things. At least I had enough sense to stay out of creepy basements. We find another teacher in a boiler room, tucked away in the back of the basement. With him are Lucien and Ernest, Hugo's son. Lucien has a bloody nose.
Thanks for coming. I can't make heads or tails of this.
I look around the scene of the crime and see a bunch of bricks and some masonry tools scattered around.
What happened here?
Ernest punched me.
Lucien tried to kill me.
Oh my.
The room falls silent.
I was not trying to kill you, dumbass. I was just trying to build a brick wall around you to see what would happen. You promised me there was wine down here. You tricked me. Whoa. Wait a second. Lucien, did you try to cast of Amontillado Ernest?
I'm neither confirming or denying that. I turn to Damien and whisper to him. What's cast of Amontillado?
It's a classic Edgar Allan Poe short story where a man gets his enemy drunk, lures him down to his cellar with the promise of a wine of a fine vintage, then buries him alive behind a brick wall. It's a lovely story.
So wait, Lucien, you tried to do that to him?
I was curious to see how it would turn out. I wasn't actually going to leave him here.
What was the thought process here? That Ernest was going to sit still while you slowly built a tomb around him?
Well,
It worked for like 20 minutes because he's an idiot, but then he realized that I'd lied about the wine. And you were cackling maniacally. That sort of hit me off.
Ernest, 20 minutes?
10.
Whoa.
It took you 20 minutes? Son, we just did an entire 2-week unit on the cask of Amontillado, and it took you 20 minutes to realize Lucian was leading you into an elaborate ruse? Did you even read the story?
I read the first 5 pages and then read a review of the movie.
What?
It's only 5 pages long, and there is no movie.
Yeah, you're right. I paid Lucian to read it for me. Actually, he didn't even pay me, so when you think about it, this is me teaching him a lesson. Damien and Hugo both have their heads in their hands. You guys are always telling me to engage the literature, and I did. I don't see a problem here. Alright, I'm filing this under what the hell. Don't do whatever that was again. You two are both suspended for a week. Ernest and Lucian high five. The teacher starts to stomp up the stairs. Hugo, I'll cover your class. Take your son home. Mr. Bloodmarch, you too.
Thank you for your mediation.
I didn't really do anything, but cool. We all head up the stairs and out of the school in tense silence. Lucian, Damien, and I all pile into my car and begin the drive home. I'm going to need to get a bigger car. My car is a 2-door, man. I mean, as it is, I'm already thinking I don't want to have a 2-door car. It has a back seat, but ain't nobody want to be reaching back, pulling the front seat forward, tipping it, get back and forth to try and get your kid. Forget that. Lucian immediately puts his hood up and stares out the window angrily. I'm not going to therapy again.
I know, son. It's entirely up to you whether or not you want to go. But I care about you, and I can see that you're struggling. If you do decide that you would like to speak to a professional about your feelings, we can do that too. Maybe you can spend this week looking for a summer job. I know how much you want to own your own car.
I can't believe Damien's keeping his car. I'm impressed. Fine. Thanks for not freaking out too hard.
I love you, son.
Lucian continues staring out the window. Love you too. We spend the rest of the drive in relative silence. The moment we pull into the driveway, Lucian hops out of the car, slams the door, and runs inside.
I didn't expect to have this conversation in front of you. He and I have a lot we need to work out.
It's alright. And all things considered, Lucian's bricklaying was pretty good, so there's a silver lining. He could be a mason.
There is that, yes.
There are a lot of different things here, but I will say I really admire how you handled that. You're a lot more diplomatic with him than I would have been.
I just found what's best for him, and I don't think yelling at him would do either of us any favors.
It rarely does. You're a good dad. See you around soon?
It would be my honor and my pleasure.
Damien bows with a flourish. Classy. He's like Triple H over here. Come home to find Amanda curled up on the couch with a blanket watching TV. I plop down next to her. Yeah, what you watching? Tiny House Hunting Brothers Extreme Edition. Ugh, I hate this show. The couple on screen bickers back and forth while standing in an extremely small house made out of recycled bottles. The Tiny House Hunting Brothers watch them with amused expressions, both of their heads touching the low ceiling. Now see, this is a place where hyphenation is important to clarify specific meaning. When I initially read it, I did not see the hyphen and thought it was house hunting brothers who were tiny. But they are in fact brothers who hunt tiny houses. I told you I wanted a two-bed, shabby chic cottage. This house doesn't even have a bathroom.
But honey, the outhouse is only 20 yards away. It's not that bad.
I am not pooping outside, Greg. Why don't they just get a regular-sized house? I don't know. Damn it, don't you shame their income. Housing is expensive. Bobo Avatar, I don't know what to do with you sometimes. How'd afternoon Tiga? Got strange. We had to go to the school to pick up Lucian since he lured Ernest down to the cellar with the promise of a fine vintage and then tried to brick him into the wall, right? How did you know that? Has everyone read the story except for me? Lucian livestreamed the entire thing. This entire day is beyond me. But otherwise it was a fun day. That Damien guy's a character, but he's really good company, and a surprisingly diplomatic dad. I dug his style. You know what? Me too. Yeah, with these guys. That was a fun day. I really enjoyed our day with Damien here. What's he got to say?
Simply marvelous.
Simply marvelous. Well, that was nice. Taped sports. Interview with a vampire, 1 of 3.
You've got dads.
Hey, we got more dads, everybody. But let's go ahead and save the game. So that we don't lose any of the dadness that we have wrought on the world. That was fun, guys. I really enjoyed the time that we spent with Damien. I hope all of you did too, and hopefully you enjoyed the time that you spent with me. When we come back next time, there are 2 dads that we have not been out on dates with. But my first impressions of either of them were not necessarily the strongest. But I suppose that doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't wonderful people in their own rights. Should I give them second chances? Or would doing so be to ignore some of the great dad friends that we have already made? The decision will weigh on me heavily. Until next time, this is BoboTheVulture. This is Let's Play Dream Daddy. I want to thank you very much for watching. Good night.